Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I learned that it's the smallest things that can make or break a relationship with a roommate. Chances are you're not going to get in a situation where you and your roommates are murdering each other, but what you get into are things that make everything exponentially more complicated than it has to be. Right? Let me give you an example. I was living with my girlfriend's ex boyfriend. He owned the place. In retrospect, that wasn't exactly a good decision, but I was desperate, and I'll get to why I was so desperate. And I thought I could make it work. One day, I had been exhausted. I was juggling two jobs, an art show, and I got home and I collapsed. And when I woke up, I discovered that he had snooped through my bag and also my phone logs and wondered why I had all these contacts in my phone and some lyrics that I had written down in my backpack. He went through it for some bizarre reason. He is autistic. And also, I think he was drunk out of his mind as well that day. Now, I really should have put my foot down. But at the time, I really loved all the students that I was teaching at two different community colleges. I didn't want drama. I had big assignments coming up and the art show. And I think he knew that. I think he leveraged that. And I leaked out a little bit too much about my comings and goings. Come to think of it, I barely know what he does for a living. I mean, I do, but I don't know all the intricate details of it. And I think he knew more about me than I knew about him. And that's a mistake that I made the last time around. Now, we had two other roommates. One of the roommates often complained about, to give you an idea of how frivolous some of these complaints were, she complained that one day I took a longer than normal shower and she had been knocking on the door and how I made her late for work. And really? I mean, I have grievances that are probably similar to that. I can't tell you how many times I let something go, right? Sometimes there's a little bit more noise than I would like. Give you an idea, I am autistic and I do really well with detoxification. One of my favorite supplements to take is niacin. I could take maybe 3 grams of niacin and flush red. And when I'm flushing like that, I don't like it when people disturb me. I don't know if anybody here has ever done niacin flush. I kind of want to just rest when that's going on. And let's face it, life goes on in the apartment, whether I like it or not. When that happens, that doesn't mean I complain about every little detail, right? I don't like it when my roommates turn up their TVs really loudly when I'm going through a niacin flush. I can tolerate it a lot better when I'm not doing a niacin. I sleep through TV noises all the time, but when I'm doing a flush, it really bothers me, right? I don't know which one is worse, right? The fact that I'm being bothered by noises during an acid flush, or the fact that my roommate couldn't plan ahead, and I was probably in the shower no more than 15 minutes, right? She couldn't plan ahead and think an hour before she needed to leave for work, and maybe even ask me, like, do you plan to take a shower? You know, right? And she didn't even bother to do that. Just because I don't make noise doesn't mean that I don't have grievances that are on par with what else is going on, right? I think my roommate, the friend of a friend, was jealous about something else during the time, and I'll get to why I think that was the case. During the time that I lived there, I met a girl in Houston on a dating app. What had happened was that I was really frustrated using the dating app, so I made a little bit of a prank. I asked people to swipe left to support me, and I shot a few photos of myself pointing left on the camera. Please swipe left um, on the camera. And I went to my favorite hiking trail, and I was pointing left and asking people to swipe left. And I got a lot of good responses from that. And after chatting a few weeks, I took a trip to Houston. I think it was just before, as I was planning for the trip to Houston, that all of his antics kind of just boiled over. I think in retrospect, sharing that was kind of the last straw that broke him. You got to understand, this is a heavy drinker. He drinks like a 24 case of beer every week. I mean, granted, he's wise about it. He knows when he has to drive or do something dangerous, and he'll put the beer away. But when he's not, he drinks a lot, and he, according to him, hasn't dated for some time, and so he apparently comes from a rather wealthy family. His family pretty much just left him the house, and you can imagine how he feels when he hears about my little survivalist lifestyle of living in my car 6 months a year and still having a dating life, right? And I think his antics really boiled over during my trip to Houston. Now that I look back at it, um, after I came home from Houston, I still chat with the girl. I don't think we hit it big or anything. And I came back, and nothing was right anymore. And he snooped around though because I was upset that I wasn't having much luck with the dating apps, and one day I decided to create a profile of Mary Curry so that I could use my profile to match Mary Curry. One of my students, he and I share some tips with each other about our dating lives. I get along with all my students. I wanted to brag to my student that look at the girl that I matched with. I didn't think he would recognize Mary Curry because he was taking college level algebra and he was studying an art major, and was just about to do that. Now I created the profile of Mary Curry. I wrote that I was just recently widowed. My husband and I study nuclear chemistry. I have two daughters. One of them is going down our path. The other is writing a biography about me. Now, funny thing is that instinctively, when the dating app asked for the birthday, instinctively I wanted to write November 7, 1867. But the app wouldn't go back to 1867, so I had to put 1967 instead. And so I was using a different. I had an old phone that didn't have a SIM card anymore. I was just using Wi-Fi just in case it would ping the MAC address for the phone. It wouldn't get confused with my profile. And I accidentally left it on the kitchen table, and my roommate snooped through that too. Funny thing is, after I created the profile, Mary Curry got like 40 likes. I actually had to pay for a membership just to read what the other guys were writing because I wanted to gain some insight on on some good pickup lines. But I was desperate. If I had better living situations, like for example, one of my colleagues still has his parents to go home to. They live locally. If that were the case for me and I were negotiating with a roommate who snooped through my phone, got jealous at me on a dime, and listened to frivolous complaints from other roommates, I would put my foot down and I would threaten to walk away. He probably needs my rent more than I need that place, right? And that's that's kind of a soreness of mine that I often don't have these walkaway powers. And also, I want to be a little bit more cautious about what I share with my roommates. Every time I talk about what I do at my job, in my personal life, I kind of give up part of my walkaway power, right? Because my roommate knows that I can't, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.